Okay, so now we're going to work on a piece titled Boogie in E. This is what we call a boogie-woogie bass line. It's taken from piano-style playing, but we're going to play it, of course, on the guitar. Most of the notes that are moving and non-stationary, they're all played with the thumb. And in between each one, as we did in Malagueña, we're going to use an open string. Anyways, this is the first piece that uses a key signature. A key signature is a set of either sharps or flats that are presented at the beginning of a piece right next to the treble clef. And they indicate that those particular notes are to be played either sharp or flat consistently throughout the piece. In this particular example, if you look at the example, at the beginning of Boogie in E, next to the treble clef, we have a set of 4 sharps. And each of those sharps is on a specific line or space. What that is telling us is that any F, any C, any G, and any D, the 4 sharps placed there, are automatically played sharp. So anytime you see a G in the music, that is automatically raised to a sharp. So what if you want a regular D or a regular G? Well, then you have to put in an accidental. And if you look at the first note in the second measure, that is a D natural. Because otherwise, if that natural were not there, due to our key signature, we would automatically raise it as a D sharp. So in this piece, it's important to remember that you have an F sharp, a C sharp, a G sharp, and a D sharp, unless they're canceled with a natural sign. Now in this piece, we're also going to play in a position outside of the first position. We're going to shift to the second position, at least when we begin. That means that our first finger is going to be lined up with the second fret. I recommend beginning this piece by only learning the thumb notes first. And there's a very simple pattern that you will see here that's duplicated throughout the piece. And once you get it on one set of strings, it's pretty easy to move it to the other set of strings. So if we look at the first 2 measures here that we have to play, we're going to pluck an E first with the thumb on the 6th string, and then we have to play the note G sharp on the 4th fret 6th string. That changes to a B on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, and then we play a C sharp on the 4th fret of the 5th string. And the last note here in this pattern going up is a D 4th string open. And notice it's a D natural. And then we just descend using the notes that we had just played going up. So we have E, G sharp, B, C sharp, D, back to C sharp, B, G sharp. So that sounds like this. And in this piece, you actually do that twice. Then we're going to move that exact pattern, that exact fretting pattern, to the 5th and the 4th strings, so that we play an A, 5th string open, then a C sharp, 4th fret, then we move to E on the 4th string, 1st finger, F sharp on the 4th fret, 4th string, followed by G natural. And just like before, then we descend using those same set of notes. And that's only done once in this case. And then we go back and we do the same exact thing on the 6th string as we did when we started. So here's all of that so far. Thumb only. Now notice as I was doing that, I was connecting each of those bass notes to the next bass note so that we have a legato and smooth sound. Okay, now we have to add, in between each one of those thumbs, we're going to pluck the first string open with the middle finger. And the funny thing about this kind of music is that it doesn't use standard eighth notes. Now remember, a standard eighth note is when we take the beat and we divide it into two equal parts, like 1, 2, 1, and 2, and. When we swing the eighth notes, we actually make them uneven. And this is something that occurs a lot in blues music and in jazz-based music. So rather than playing the notes evenly, such as 1 and 2 and, we make the first portion longer than the second portion. And we get this sound, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. See how the 1, the 2, the 3 are longer than the and part. That's called swinging the eighth notes. So here is what the bass line would sound like, at least the first two measures, with regular standard eighth notes, even eighth notes. But what we want to do, rather than playing them even, is we want to swing them, right? So we're going to have a long note and then a short one. Long, short, long, short, long, short, long. And that becomes more obvious when you move it a little faster. So that's that whole portion there with that second string in between. And we're almost done with this piece. We have to do one move, though. We have to go and play a new pattern here before we can finish this piece out. And in order to do this, we have to shift to the first position because we're going to need to play the first fret. And so immediately following what I just played, what we do is we play a bass note B on the 5th string, and then we're going to play a D sharp, which is the 1st fret, 4th string, and the pinky plays the 4th fret on that same string. And then we have to jump to the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. So those 4 notes are a little tricky to play. Again, they're B, D sharp, F sharp, and A. And immediately after we're done with that, we have to shift back to the 2nd position so we can play the notes that we were playing on the 5th string. And then from there we go back to the 6th string. And before the end, one more time we have to jump back to the first position. So in this piece, as I play through it, you'll notice that sometimes I'm in the 2nd position, and sometimes I'm in the 1st position, and I really have to be able to move back and forth between those. So here's the whole thing at a fairly slow tempo. Now we end with this chord, which is 3 simultaneous strings played at once. And the way I pluck those is with my index, middle, and ring finger all simultaneously plucking with a free stroke those top strings. All right, and you can see that this piece, when you get it moving kind of fast, is pretty cool sounding. So that's Boogie and E.